Hi, I'm Novel Mike, and this is my opinion. One of the Game of the Year ending thing that I'm doing, I wanted to do a different subject than just best and worst games. So, one thing I thought that was different that I haven't really seen many people do is my favorite games I didn't finish from this year. So, like the other categories, this is going to be my three picks of that. There's no nominee and winner kind of thing, just the three things that most came to mind for this category. So these are, to clarify, these are not games that I didn't complete. Like I finished the story, I just didn't get all the hidden items or anything like that. No, these are games I started but did not continue or finish for one reason or another. Games I really like that I want to get back to, I just haven't had the time to do so as of yet, or other games took priority, that kind of thing. So that said, without further ado, the first one is Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE. So this game is weird. And it's far and away what I originally was wanting it to be. When they first announced, the Shimigami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem game, I was really expecting, a Shimigami-esque game in a Fire Emblem, tactical kind of turn-based system. And this is not that at all. This is very much feels like Idolmaster crossed with Fire Emblem or Shimigami Tensei. It does not feel at all like either game. I'm not sure that's a bad thing, though. I haven't played enough of the game to really, make that opinion. I've wanted to really get into this game. I just haven't had the time. Part of the problem that I've had is that essentially, since the Switch was announced, when I've wanted to get back into the game, I keep thinking, well, what if they just port this to the Switch with more content and then I have to replay the game again? What's the point of playing this version now? And so that's why I'm waiting until at least after January 12th when Nintendo announces all the stuff for Switch to see if this is one of the projects they're bringing over, since I know that it didn't do very well. I mean, it was a very niche kind of game to begin with, especially in the West. So I know it didn't do very well in sales, so it would make sense to do at least a port of the game to the Switch to try at least make a little bit more of sales. But that remains to be seen. They may not even want to spend the effort on it since it did not sell well at all in Japan or in America. That said, the game is weird, but it's very charming. It's very colorful. It's got this very interesting idol motif that I'm not sure I'm going to like by the end of the game, but at the very least, it was an interesting idea to base that off of. And I'm kind of happy that they did decide to do something really bizarre with this setup. Instead of just trying to play it by the numbers, what everyone was expecting. I think they probably shouldn't have actually announced it as a partnership of Shimigami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem until they were sure exactly what they were making, so people didn't have completely different expectations. But what we're getting, or what we got, I should say, is at the very least charming, interesting, and from what I played of it, which I didn't play all that much, very fun, and I do want to get back to it. And I will once I know that there's not another version on the way. And if there is, I'll just wait for that. Next on the list is Darkest Dungeon. So I'm not a big fan of roguelike games. For those who aren't aware, roguelikes are essentially these endless dungeon-based, randomly generated games. Collect loot, that kind of thing. Mainly because most of them are very Diablo-esque, this top-down kind of aesthetic, and I've never been a fan of top-down action RPGs. They're just, I don't know, just the perspective just doesn't sit well with me for an action game. I want like a third-person camera or something like that. And I'm not that huge a fan of Diablo or anything like that personally. But this game is a turn-based RPG roguelike, and it is really, really good. And it's got this interesting story about this cursed mansion, and you're traveling down in the abyss, and the roguelike elements work really well in this kind of turn-based aesthetic instead of trying to make it like an action RPG like so many other ones are, or Castlevania-like. I really like it a lot, and I've barely started it. I actually picked it up fairly recently, but I have loved what I've played so far. I just haven't had time to really get into it as of yet, and I intend to do that when I can because it was really fun, and it seemed like a really good game to do a challenge mode on, if I'm being honest. I was thinking about doing that, and then, of course, I had to postpone challenge mode for the time being, but it was definitely something I was considering doing a challenge mode on at some point, and I thought maybe one reason I haven't, even when I've had some time lately, last day or two, to play it, I haven't jumped into it is because I do kind of want to not get too far in it, so I can maybe try to just do a challenge mode on it, a blind run, or as blind as I can be, and go through it and have fun with that. But remains to be seen if I'll be able to do that. Finally, the last game for games I did not finish that I really liked was The Witness. So I started this. I had a lot of fun with it. There's these really cool puzzles. I just got kind of overwhelmed with other stuff out at the same time. I think I played this like a couple of days before XCOM 2 came out, and that was a mistake because then once I played XCOM 2, like I was head first into that, and as soon as I finished XCOM 2, I was head first into Fire Emblem Fates, and it just didn't work out that well. So I liked what I played. I want to get back into it. I just haven't had the time. I still got it installed on my computer actually right now. I just haven't gone back into it. It seems really interesting. I've heard there's some really interesting kind of twists to how everything works. Don't know exactly what that is, but I do want to play more of it, and I would like to actually play that game. I really wish I had a portable version, honestly. I wish it was something I could take on the go on the Vita or something like that. Instead of just being PC and I think PS4. But really fun, really interesting game. Not too crazy or anything, just a really good puzzle game that I just did not get enough time into. I remember finding like this really hard puzzle in like the very early part of the game, and I was like so set on trying to figure it out, but like I just didn't know enough to do it yet. And it seems like I either need something or I thought I figured it out and I couldn't, or what I thought was right was wrong. And yeah, just a very interesting puzzle game that I would like to spend more time with when I get the opportunity. But anyway, I'm Novel Mike. That is my 3 favorite games I did not finish. Expect the next video in just a couple days, and have a great day, everybody. See ya!